Episode 4 of Loki has just dropped players on one of the biggest cliffhangers ever put out by the MCU and probably one of the most bone-chilling scenes ever put out by Marvel on some nope shit, okay? And that's because they didn't even show us the aftermath, and, talk about squaring your jewels. But I was waiting for episode 4, not just because of episode 4's supremacy, but because I know that the critics that were sent episodes to watch early to review, which Marvel, come on, hook a player up, but they received up to episode 4 to watch, and they said it ended on a huge cliffhanger. Now, although I'm enjoying the show so far, I do have my issues with it, and I am kind of worried because it seems like a lot is happening to where I have absolutely no idea how they'll resolve any of this in a satisfying way within the last 2 episodes. But if anyone can, Loki can. But it is legit make or break time, so we will be doing a little mid-season review here, getting into where the show is ranking so far, some of the things that I picked up on, and then we are going to be getting into some predictions and speculations on what the fuck is even gonna happen. Who came first, Obi or Victor? What was that huge splash of white at the end of the episode? TikTok users, we're gonna need your help on that one. And what other types of machines do they got at the TVA? It seems they have a machine for everything. What else do they have? Just asking. So in episode 3, we pick up with the gang needing to open the bay doors to access the loom, but without He Who Remains temporal aura, they can't, so they travel to 1893 Chicago after tracking Renslayer's tempad there to find Miss Minutes to get her to do it. And we see Renslayer go back even further to deliver a young Victor Timely a TVA guidebook, setting him up to become the man he's supposed to be in the future. They end up finding both Renslayer and the He Who Remains variant, Victor Timely, showcasing a prototype version of the loom. And, shout out to Jonathan Majors, who's looking more and more like he's getting justice for the slander on his name earlier this year. But also, shout out for giving us another great performance as another uniquely and distinguished Kang variant. It seems Timely is a bit of a con artist, a little bit of a finesser. None of his inventions seem to quite work, but basically everyone meets up with him. He's getting pulled in every which direction. Sylvie comes through trying to kill him, but Miss Minutes creates a diversion and he escapes with Ravonna and her, and they fill him in on who he would become and how they need him to fix the loom and to not trust the Lokis. And Victor is kind of, rizzing up Ravonna a little bit until he heard that she wanted a partnership, and in fact, she wasn't with him shooting in the gym. And it turns out Miss Minutes is as well a little thoughty freak, okay? She is getting mad salty about Ravonna and Victor. Even after Victor shows Ravonna his Sigma grind set, Miss Minutes is going on about how much she loves He Who Remains and why he hasn't created a body for her, probably for some back shots, and almost attacks him. We're gonna need to, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, we're gonna need to turn off Latina mode, I'm afraid. But this was genuinely one of the creepiest moments in all the MCU legit. Miss Minutes is getting increasingly creepier with each one of her outings, and that isn't even the worst of it. But basically Ravonna catches up and is about to prune Victor unless he follows her orders, and the Loki gang comes through causing a bit of a stalemate until Sylvie arrives and uses they don't stop coming spell, and she decided to spare He Who Remains after a little nice kind of heart to heart. He might look like the man that ruined Sylvie's life, but he's not. They're able to take him to the TVA while Sylvie deals with her real main op, which is Renslayer, and gives her a little tummy bob, and instead of killing her, she sends her to the end of time, with the episode 3 cliffhanger being Miss Minutes meeting her there and describing a big secret, And so episode 3 was solid, but I do remember at this point wanting them to kind of get to the point already. Let's spin this yarn a little bit faster, please. When we got to episode 4, I feel that's what was happening as we jump into Miss Minutes showing Ravonna a recording of how she was apparently a great asset to Kang in the multiversal war, and he kind of promised her a partnership, but the finesse genes are strong in all the Kang variants, and he instructed Miss Minutes to not only erase the TVA agents' memories, but also Ravonna's. And so with this information, Ravonna does what any woman who feels slighted by a man does. She gets all the way hyped up by one of her absolutely insane friends and starts plotting to fuck shit up, which she gives Dox and the rest of the rebel hunters an ultimatum of join her efforts and get a place on the sacred timeline. This, something not 260 Bradley could not refuse, or the inverse, get your jewel squared or cubed, or whatever was in physics in 11th grade. But basically this scene was just super gruesome without any gore and just super brutal. In its own way, it reminded me of Nope. And you know, spoilers for Nope if you haven't seen it, but when the people get sucked up and start agonizingly working their way through the creature's digestive system, like that's exactly what it reminded me of. And in a way, they were being slowly digested as well, broken down by that energy cube. Just the screams of agony were enough to make you unsettled. But then you have Miss Minutes bitch ass smiling at this process, okay? They need to code a hell for her after this. But while this is happening, they introduce Victor to Obi, and they are actually both fans of each other's works, but they were both inspired to do what they do by each other. And so it's like, you know, who came first? You know, how does that even work? You know, a snake eating its own tail, as Obi says, and that's legit what a Ouroboros is. So major time fuckery is going on. I feel like Obi is definitely going to be way more important than they're actually showing us. You know, I feel like he's going to be way more prominent, but they're going to implement a prototype to fix the issue with the loom. And in the process of that, Mobius and Loki step away a bit. And this is when Sylvie confronts Mobius for kind of being so detached from the whole situation. You know, a very kind of deep scene and some interesting lighting choices. Sylvie and Loki also have a heart-to-heart as well about how she couldn't kill Timely. Loki kind of just telling her how to have more hope or faith in this plan of trying to change the TVA for the better, which I actually kind of like. You know, destroying is easy, fixing things is the hard shit. So I thought that was a good little back and forth. And what seemingly happens to most Sigmas is Victor Timely had to take a moment to retrieve, you know, a sweet little treat, and that's what gets him in the hands of Op, X5, and Renslayer. The gang notices this and starts to head towards the loom and starts, you know, to put the plan in action. But in the process, the Loki from the first episode comes through and gets pruned by none other than our Loki, Prime Loki, and we find out that it was Obi that was calling the phone from episode 1. So again, this is all a part of this grand plot that they're weaving. So let's see how they make sense of it all for the last 2 episodes, which supposedly are going to get wild. But Miss Minutes is slowing them down, so Obi performs a reboot that sends her to the Shadow Realm and also turns off the magic dampeners in the TVA. So magic is back, and that kind of just gets me wondering, like, can you do something to turn off whatever is making the Infinity Stones inert? Let's get some Infinity Stone action going. But basically, Sylvie is able to enchant X5 to prune Renslayer and get Timely to the loom, who then takes the task of deploying the throughput multiplier, to which he gets instantly fucking ribboned. And that shit was just crazy, okay? The whole episode, the whole 2 episodes, they're just trying to get this guy here because they need him to do this thing, and now he's fucking gone. All of this shit is crazy. The temporal radiation just obliterated him. I was like, yo, what the fuck are they even going to do now? And where are we even going to be in the next episode with the loom seemingly having been exploded? So what that means, I have no idea. People are speculating though that this is what is going to do the melding of the different timelines and universes that is ultimately going to put all the different timelines, even the legacy timelines, into the same continuity as the main MCU. That would make sense given that we know the TVA will be heavily involved in Deadpool 3. So maybe they still have all these different timelines out there, but with pieces of each other within them. So who knows how crazy it'll get, but I always kind of hoped in the back of my mind we'd see Deadpool at the end of the season. I'm just throwing that out there. They have enough to do already, but again, the plot is thickening. Solid 3rd episode, great 4th episode, shit is popping off, tons of emotional moments, great performances. So season 2 of Loki for me right now is at a fluctuating 7.5 to 8. I'm still so heavily debating whether I'm enjoying Gen V or Loki more, but I think even me doing that is a good thing overall. But let me know what y'all think, whether you like the episode or not, or you're liking the show as it is or not so far. And what are some of your predictions? Like, do you think Deadpool is going to come through? Who do you think Obi is going to be? Are they going to get another Kang variant? Let me know. But that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. I hope everybody has a happy Halloween. I hope all of you guys stay well, and I will see you in the next one.